Hey guys, thanks for joining us for another edition of the Detour Live. I'm your host Dan Jones, joined as always by my old sparring partner Johnny Trevorrow. Another great episode tonight. We're going to be chatting with Simon Clarke. Now, the last time we spoke to Clarkey was at the end of last year. I think he didn't have a contract. We put out a bit of an SOS, talked about how good he was as a road captain. He was in great form. He was training the house down. He was my favourite for the Nationals. And geez, what a month for old Clarkey.
Well, it was actually at the start of this year because it was during the Bay Crits.
No, we didn't talk to him during the Bay Crits.
Oh, I did every day.
I told you, you got the first stage of dementia, mate. It's starting to slip. But yeah, no, it was just after Chrissy, I reckon.
Yeah.
But you just had to slip in the Bay Crits as always.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's just get him on because we're just going to be waffling on and people will tune out before we get to Clarkey. So Simon Clarke joins us live now. Clarkey, thanks for coming back on the Detour. And first of all, congratulations, one, getting a team, but not just doing that, getting some bloody great results, mate.
Thanks, Jonesy. It's good to, hit the ground running. It was definitely a stressful off-season for me, but just tried to knuckle down and not lose hope and just believe in myself and tried to, in a way it gave me extra motivation to really step things up. And in the end, I got the call up and I was, like you say, ready to pull the trigger.
Fantastic, mate. Well, look, we'll go on about the Bay Crits in a minute, but and you rode amazingly well in both of them. You set both races alight, actually, even though they nailed you just before the line on both days. But that's another story. But and of course, the Bay Crits has got you the form that you're showing there in Mallorca.
Move on, John.
Take us through the process of how it happened, because we spoke to you only a week before the end of the year. And you had all the feelers out, but nothing had happened at that stage. So take us through the process of what happened in that short time. Because one day you were riding the Nationals, next day you were off to a training camp. So take us through that.
Yeah. So the difficult situation for me was that Qhubeka really never admitted to defeat until the last minute, and so it was difficult for me to, teams weren't really paying attention until Qhubeka came out, and it wasn't, I think, until the 23rd of December when they made a public announcement that the team was going to fold. And it wasn't until then that I could really go, right, now at least everyone's going to know that the team's done and the riders that are involved in that team are available. And so as soon as that happened, I did a few interviews and purposely tried to get a bit of publicity going, and that gained the attention of Israel. Being the Christmas New Year period, though, it was, nothing was going to happen overnight. So there was probably a 10-day period there where things were kind of happening, and if it was a different period of the year, probably would have happened even more quickly. But yeah, with Christmas and New Year over that couple of weeks there, it kind of just took a little bit of back and forth and to get things over the line. And then, it wasn't until the night, on the Friday night, the night before the Bay Crits, that I got the phone call saying, right, we're on. How quickly can you get to Europe? We got a training camp starting on Tuesday. And I said, well, I've got this pretty big race in Geelong to do on the weekend, and then I can get on a flight on Monday and I'll be there on Tuesday.
Good man. I love it.
Because that was amazing. Because, I saw the announcement. I thought, well, hang on, isn't Clarke at the Bay Crits? And then I saw a photo. Bang, you were in Europe, training camp. So when you got to the training camp, obviously, there's guys that you've ridden with before. Daryl Impey pops to mind. There would have been some familiar faces. How was the integration into the team when you first got there?
Yeah, well, being around as long as I have, fortunately, I've got quite a lot of ex-teammates in the peloton, and I think there's 6 or 7 ex-teammates of mine in Israel. So to rock up and already have 6 or 7 guys that I'd already worked with closely, and then a bunch of other guys that even if I hadn't been teammates with, I was friends in the peloton and get along with well. So it was. It wasn't like coming home, but it was pretty close to that, and I just slotted straight in, and straight into it. It was really good. So absolutely no issues from that point of view. And from then on, I was just focused on settling in and getting back into my professional routine that we do over here and get the ball rolling ASAP.
Now, every training camp's different. Was this a training camp where they gave you an opportunity to show your legs, and you obviously would have been keen to say, "Hey guys, I'm actually fit. I'm ready to go."
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a pretty good training camp actually. Some really quite long rides and some good training and some tough intervals, and then we did have a testing day where we had to do a 10-minute tests, and that was pretty much your chance to show how you were going. And I actually did an all-time PB in the 10-minute test in the camp. So after that, I had a meeting with the team management, and they kind of sat down and said, "Well, to be honest, we were preparing on starting you later on in the racing season to expecting that you might be a bit behind with the preparation and you're needing a bit of extra time before you start racing. But actually, we might put you in the first race of the year because you seem like you're ready to go."
It was a good move in the end because you got some fantastic results. I think your first one was at 6th, and then you got 3rd and maybe 5th or whatever on the final day. But what was the emotion like when I think when you got 6th, you could tell after the stage, like there was a sense of it just sort of the relief of that you knew you had good legs, but just that the team had given you this opportunity, but you felt like, you were going to pay that back pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it was just a relief. I mean, if I was sitting at home and I was ready to retire and, I was a bit over it, then it would be a different situation. But the fact that I was at home without a team, knowing that I can still compete at a world level with these big guys and not have an opportunity to do so was pretty hard to take. So to get that last minute call up and then jump straight in and show that, I can still compete at the pointy end of these races was pretty satisfying. And I'm happy that the hard work that I did put in over the Aussie summers is showing.
Now, you talk about retirement. Look at a guy like Valverde, who's 64, and he's still bopping around in the finale. I mean, does that give you inspiration to go, hang on, I might just be sort of peaking here?
I mean, yeah, he's from an age point of view, he's an inspiration. The way, he's just evergreen, and he races so well and so smart. And, I can't see, he doesn't show any signs of getting old. So, I mean, he said he's going to stop at the end of this year, but if he does decide to continue, it wouldn't surprise me because I can't see him. I can't see him slowing down at all anytime soon.
I see you rolled him in the first one. You were 5th and he was 6th, and then the day you got 3rd, he was 2nd to Wellens. I think he rolled you yesterday. I think you finished 6th and he finished. He won that one. So yeah. So no holding the old bugger back. Yeah.
Mate, he's
a freak.
He's a freak. He really is a freak. I know he's got maybe a questionable history and whatnot, but as an athlete, he's an absolute freak. And the fact that he can still do what he's doing at 40, 41 or whatever, I'm not sure how exactly.
I'm good mates with someone who's had been very close with Valverde right through his career, and he says he's one of the most naturally gifted athletes of all time. He says he's one of the cleanest athletes of all time. He was in a team that had a bit of a shady thing and he got caught up in that. He said, but I can tell you now, he's one of the cleanest athletes. You've got to go, and he's one of the most amazing athletes. In his early days, he was a sprinter. I mean, I've seen photos of him beating Robbie McEwen in bunch sprints, So he was up there with the fastest sprinters, and he moved from that into an all-round road rider and winning Grand Tours. So, he is in every form of cycling, just something really extra. And a real, you know better than anyone, mate, but they tell me just an easygoing bloke, just a real open, easygoing guy.
Yeah. No, he is a super guy. But he still has the passion. We were on the podium when he came.
Oh, what happened then? We lost Clarkie. I could hear like some sort of hissing and buzzing. I thought his phone's going to blow up here, and it did. But we did have a couple of comments. He's just come back on. Gavin B says that's got to be close to be a record. If you 2 mentions of the Bakerits in the first 2 minutes, impressive. Clarky, you're back. No, you're right. We thought your phone blew up.
Someone rang me and just everything goes. Yeah, we were on the podium, and when he finished second and I was third, and Wellens kind of showed him the fence there on the left coming into that sprint. He was ropeable, and he come to me going, "What do you reckon? Is that should he be getting rubbed or what?" And I'm like, look, mate, it was a tricky little finish there. The road was hardly straight, so I think that they'll probably just leave the decision as it is. But yeah, he's racing like he's hungry as ever.
Yeah, that's what happened. You pissed him off, and then he goes out and beats you. He hasn't forgotten. Should have said, "Yeah, mate. No, he chopped you. Whatever support you need at my end, no dramas." Jan Boardman's got a question. Have all the team's riders now found new contracts? What happens to those that didn't? Your story, it's not very common, is it? Like a rider signing up at that part of the season, or is it? Like just for the viewers?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's not very common at all. And there are a lot of my teammates that either don't have teams at all, or they've had to go to basically continental level teams where they're riding for no income at all. So it's a pretty tough situation. I consider myself very lucky that I was able to find a team that was willing to take me on so late in the piece. And I think, there's from my team, I'm the only one since they made the announcement that's managed to sign with the World Tour team.
Sally Ilchin says, congrats, Clarkey. We all had our fingers crossed that you get into a new team. Now, have you had discussions? Obviously, you've had some great results so far. What are the goals? Obviously, the Spring Classics are going to be coming up before we know it. Races like Amstel obviously suit your characteristics. Have you got any sort of goals for the rest of the year with the new team?
Yeah, so basically the team sat down and said, look, we really want to be able to take you to some lower level races like Mallorca was, and that you can perform yourself. And then we also want you to be a bit of a wingman for our leaders, both Michael Woods and Jakob Fuglsang and whatnot. So I'm going to be racing a lot with Woodsy this year in Catalonia and Pays Basque. And so the other motivation for me in Mallorca was, okay, I've got a chance here. I don't know how many more of these kind of races I'll be doing where I do have a free ticket, and I just need to make it count. One, to set it, I've only got one chance to make a first impression, and I wanted to just set off on the right foot, and then know that maybe later on in the season I'll be riding a support kind of role, which is fine for me, but it doesn't just give me as much of a chance to show my personal qualities. So it was good to get that, show that in Mallorca, and then I'll have a few more opportunities throughout the year, but I'll be also racing a lot alongside Michael Woods and Jakob Fuglsang.
Now, Woodsy, you've been his wingman before, and you two have got a pretty good friendship. So you were a couple of years with Woodsy at EF?
Yeah, we actually did 5. We were there for my whole 5 years at EF. We were together as teammates, and then last year we both left, and he went to Israel, and I spent a year at Quebecer, and now we're back together at Israel. So basically in the last 7 years, we've only spent 1 year in different teams. So I'm very close with Woodsy, and he's a great teammate, and he's a super athlete. And although he's not young either, I still think he's got a lot to deliver, and he's gonna do some cool stuff.
Weren't we talking about Woodsy on the last show? Like, you took him under your wing a bit and showed him the ropes in the early days? I'm getting flashbacks.
He was also, it wasn't just a coincidence that I went to a team where Woodsy is. He was also a factor in helping get the deal over the line with Israel.
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't just the Detour podcast. It also was.
I mean, that was definitely a big part of it.
For sure.
I have to say, but not the only part.
Yeah. All right, Clarky. Well, geez, mate, we'll be checking in throughout the year because, we're massive advocates of obviously not just you as a rider, but as a bloke. And Janice Ashcroft says, hello, all. Great to have you on here, Simon. Anything you want to add before we let Clarky go, Iffy?
Oh, just what's the actual next race for you? So where to from here?
So I'm on for Tour of Provence next week, Thursday to Sunday in southern France. And then I've got another 10 days at home.
Does that flick
actually,
up Mont Ventoux? Does it get a little flick up Mont Ventoux on that one?
Yeah, it does have a tough hilltop finish on the last day, but fortunately not Mont Ventoux this year. But I was looking last night doing a bit of homework, and I think it's 12 or 13k uphill finish on the last day at about 6.5%. So it doesn't have Ventoux on it next to as its name, but it's not going to be too much different, I don't think.
We do have one final question from the viewers. Gavin wants to know, Clarky, which teammate over your career was the angriest when races came down to the crunch?
Good question. I have to say I've had pretty good teammates over the years. I can't really there's not many too many guys that I've had issues with as teammates. The sprinters in general can get a bit fiery, but quite often when they fire up due to frustration, it's actually because they're not going as well as themselves. They're not going themselves as well as they would like to, and they kind of try to find a reason for the teams to make that the fault of their teammates. So that's kind of the only situation I've found where teammates get fired up, and I'm pretty quick to shut that down and go, hang on a second, let's have a bit of a more holistic view of this situation.
Now, I got a text from the great Matt Keenan, world-renowned broadcaster. He says, have you asked Clarky about Chris Froome's race program? No, we haven't, because we don't think as sharp as you do, Keenan. Do you know his race program at all, Clarky?
I don't actually. I don't know if he does yet, to be honest. I think he's just in recovery mode at the moment, or rehab mode, whatever you want to call it. He actually, on top of his big crash a couple of years ago and the ongoing rehab he's doing for that, he actually injured his knee quite badly this winter. And so, he's in rehab process for another issue on top of his femur issue. So we're all hoping he can get on the start line ASAP, but he needs to get that sorted before he's going to be able to start racing. And to be honest, I'm not exactly sure how he's going with that since the training camp.
Must be good having a guy like that around the group, though. Must give a big buzz. You know, you can pick his brain about stuff, but I just pick his brain and ask about stories. Tell us the yarn about.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy, and you rock up at a camp like that, and you'd never think he's won the 4 Tour de France's. He's just a chilled out bloke and happy to sit at the back of the room and be anonymous, and he's always good for a yarn.
Good.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on poor old Egan Bernal, who tragically has broken his femur and just had a second operation on his back. That's going to be a really tough road back for him too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm praying for the best for him, but it's everything I'm hearing is not positive from a performance point of view. To be honest, at this stage, I think we need to be crossing our fingers that he's going to be okay, just to get his body right to live a normal life, and then once that's guaranteed, then reassess how that'll bode as a professional athlete. But it sounds like there's some pretty serious injuries going on there, and you don't want to speculate, but how he's going to go, but I think his general health is a priority at the moment as opposed to anything else.
Now, I know you got to go, but you're busy racing, so I don't know how much you've jumped on YouTube and watched the other races. But in Saudi, so it was a great win by Caleb. Took out the first stage, a very, very strong sprint. But I was more impressed with the next stage, where it was a fairly hard uphill finish. They were dragging up for a couple of K, and he still finished in that group. You could see, I just watched the replay of it just before, and there's a top bike was going, and Caleb still finished in that in the group just behind the stage winners. So very impressive this early in the season.
Yeah, I did watch the replay too, actually. It was on Eurosport yesterday afternoon, and I kind of just watched the last 15, 20K, and I was impressed too. It was a super effort. It wasn't a whole lot of guys left in that bunch coming over the top of that climb there with 800 meters to go or whatnot. And super ride by the Colombian from Bahrain. But as for the rest, he was right there on the money. So I think he's definitely done some good work over the winter, and I think if Saudi's anything to go by, he should be up for a good spring campaign.
Yeah, I've got another question from Keenan. He wants to know: are you likely to do any races with young Aussie Seb Berwick, good climber, second Sun Tour 2020?
Well, he actually raced him in Mallorca. He was there with me racing in Mallorca, and he's. I was also rooming with Taj Jones, the other Aussie on the team. He was also in Mallorca, so I was with both the other Aussies in Israel, in the Israel team, and they're going well. They're just young guys, still learning the craft and getting there day by day. Seb had a few issues on the Saturday race where I was 6, where he pulled out because he had some stomach problems. So it's just there's so many things that go into being a pro athlete, and even just what you eat in the dining hall at the buffet can decide how your race goes. And there's things like that you just need to learn that the safest thing is eating chicken and white rice. And although it's not very entertaining, you just know that it's not going to give you problems when you come down to racing. So there's so many little things like that you need to learn when coming over here and racing these big races and the big guys. So they're getting there. They've still got a big hill to climb. But let's hope they can keep going and be up the pointy end sooner rather than later.
When you asked, I just want to cut you off because this is funny. When you said to Clarkie, "Oh, did you get on YouTube?" I thought you were going to ask him about the Astana rap video that they released. Clarkie was the pioneer of this stuff with the Call Me Maybe in 2012. Have you seen the rap video, and what did you think?
I haven't seen it. I saw the announcement, but I haven't seen it.
Do you want to watch it? I want to get your feedback straight up.
Okay,
good.
Astana Kazakhstan team.
This is Astana Kazakhstan team. Yeah, looking fresh. We are ready to win.
We are rolling pedals for the gold medals. Our job is to win. Astana is my team. We are riding to win, and it will be done. Astana is my team from Kazakhstan. We are rolling pedals for the gold medals. Our job is to win. Astana is my team. We are riding to win, and it will be done. Astana is my team from Kazakhstan.
This is my challenge, this is my way, my passion, my message, my power, my game. My bike on the road, my heart with my team. My goals moving forward, I follow my dream.
My bike, you're my passion, I love you so much. You look so high fashion, I'm mad of your touch. I spend all my time with my bike just to feel that all is still fine with my racing skills.
Scrolling my Twitter, I'm using hashtags. My bike, I'm gator, I'm shaving my legs. We are riding together, discovering the track, and nothing can stop us cause Vinos is back.
We build this empire with Lopez compact. Lutsenko's on fire and the shark can attack.
Tutto il giorno in strada, ore su ore, lottando per la fama tra fatica e sudore. We are rolling pedals for the gold medals. Our job is to win. Astana is my team. We are riding to win, and it will be done. Astana is my team from Kazakhstan. We are rolling pedals for the gold medals. Our job is to win. Astana is my team. We are riding to win, and it will be done. Astana is my team from Kazakhstan.
What are your thoughts?
That? Well, they've stepped it up, haven't they? Like last year, they did one. Was it last year or 2 years ago? They did one.
Yeah.
And it was. I liked it too, but it was kind of more of a non-professional version, I think. But this time they've stepped it right up. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, John?
Well, I've been reading I hadn't actually watched it. I've been reading all of the reports who were bagging it. I thought it was bloody fantastic. A real laugh.
Oh, I think
We're rolling pedals for the gold medals. Well, there you go.
But it's just so different. Like, and they're having a crack. And this is the thing. Like, as long as teams understand that it is also about entertainment at times. You don't always have to be monotone, serious. Just go there and have fun. And I think good on it.
Definitely. Great. And it's just got a way more professional feel about it. It feels like, it's been filmed with a proper camera and high quality and not just on an iPhone and thrown together by someone. And the other good thing is, I don't know who was in charge of putting it together, but just at least getting the English lyrics right. When you've got, I've ridden for Astana in 2011, and, it would be easy for a team like that to throw something like that together and with people who speak English as a second language, and although they're doing their best effort, they can maybe not get the English phrases right. So from everything I heard then, it sounded like
it was good.
They've got someone to do it properly, which is great.
Well, that was the longest wrap up we've ever had on the detail. I think it's about 15 minutes. Started with, all right, mate, last one. But
last one.
Okay.
Last one.
Yes.
COVID. We hear reports of a few people. Mallorca. I've already heard of a couple of riders who are racing in Mallorca who have come down with COVID. How have you found it, mate?
There's a lot of COVID. A lot of pros have got COVID at the moment. We had, I think, 6 changes for Valencia that started yesterday, just from either COVID, people getting COVID, or being COVID contacts, and then can't have to isolate or whatnot. So it's a big issue. Not so much an issue from people being sick, but just the consequences of testing positive and having to isolate and not being available for races. And I think as you guys would have probably heard as well, with the January training camps that a lot of teams had in southern Spain and whatnot, some camps were called off entirely, and other camps had some positive cases. And I don't know anyone who's actually been really sick from it, but just the consequences of having to isolate and potentially being close contact is really putting a spanner in the work for race programs and riders being available for races.
All right, mate. Well, yeah, as we said, loved having you on the potty, mate. Wish you best for the rest of the season. We'll be checking in again soon, and take it easy, mate.
Pleasure.
Clarky.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Brendan Clarky.
All right, mate.
Stay, mate.
Have a rosé for me in Provence.
I will.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Take it easy. Simon Clark, great character, and it's fantastic to see him get those results early in the season. Now, we said in the description, we got big news because we've been pumping up detour travel. I'll be honest, I did have some jitters because you're a great guy, John, but I'll tell it to you straight. When it comes to logistics, and I don't often swear on this show, shit house. I was worried about that.
It was the old days, mate.
No, because I was asking you about maps and you're going back to we'll book one accommodation for like 4 stages there.
You were talking
only
crap
2
again.
fingers on the map, and you were looking at an atlas. So it would have been a 3-hour drive. So anyway, we prevented a potential disaster because why compete with the best? Why not do something with them?
It might have been my idea, actually, Dan. But anyway, it's very true.
Well, it might have been your idea because the reality of what you're about to take on, I think you realised that it was best to talk to the guys at Moo Moo Cycling. So we've got Marcel Berger coming on. We're going to have a quick drinks break. We've integrated a little ad with those guys as well. If you're listening to the audio version of it, jump on YouTube. You'll see the pictures as well. We'll chat with him on the other side of the drinks break.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks to Bike Exchange and Moo Cycling. And Marcel Berger joins us live now. Marcel, thanks for joining the show, mate. And are you relieved? Are you nervous? What's the emotions now that you've linked up with the Detour? And if he's chewing at the bit to get to the Giro and the Tour, and geez, who knows? If he doesn't get dropped by then, he might show up at the Vuelta.
Well, to be honest, I think it's been a very long time coming with Iffy. We've been talking about this for a number of years. But no, seriously pumped because, even just listening to the conversation you just had with Clarkey, that's pretty much what we do for a living. We just give people an insight into the inner sanctum of cycling. And, you guys are the best in the business at it. And we're the best in the business in getting people over there and in the race. It's super exciting. Can't wait to start working with Iffy on the ground and maybe introduce him to a spreadsheet or two.
Look, I'm going to cover from both sides. I got a serious question for you, Marcel. In that, I've always mispronounced your name. Obviously, it's a bit like you remember a great show, Keeping Up Appearances. Hyacinth Bouquet, as she called herself, but it was spelled bucket. So I've just called you Berger, but it's Berger. So what's correct?
That's correct. It's Berger. It's Marcel Berger, but unfortunately, when I go to France, hotels and everyone don't understand Marcel Berger, so I have to say it in French, which is Marcel Berger. And then that starts a whole massive problem of I don't speak enough French to continue the conversation from there.
I'd run with Marcel Berger. That's got a nice.
I love it. That's Hyacinth's Bouquet for sure. For sure.
Polished.
All right.
Sounds like a nice name for like a red wine,
Well,
Marcel Berger Shiraz.
No, it's actually an aperitif.
There you go.
There's an aperitif called Berger in France. Nice, actually. Yeah.
We're there.
So this year, now I've got a document that I can share with the viewers. If you're listening to this on the podcast, jump on YouTube and you can see the images as well. Now, this basically summarizes what the punter will get. Now, if they come on a traditional Iffy Detour, this is run so much more polished, and I don't sweat anymore. But give us a run through of what the experiences you guys do throughout the year and what they can basically expect. And I can just sort of flick through some of these slides.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, over the years, I've spent time working at the UCI. Obviously, Stewie's heavily involved in the business as well. We've got a very wide network in the world of cycling. So at the end of the day, all we want to do and all we do is get cycling fans as close to pro cycling as you can possibly get. And Stewie basically, one thing he always says is literally you're as close to the race without putting a race number on. So we're official operators for every major cycling race. So all 3 Grand Tours and pretty much every monument and the Tour Down Under. We work closely with the UCI on the Worlds. So at a race, effectively, the way we look at it is if someone's going all the way halfway across the world to go and experience a Grand Tour, the race has to come first. So actually experiencing what the Tour de France is, or what the Giro is, or being in amongst it at Tour of Flanders in Belgium. So what we do is we effectively combine riding, but riding's not everything. And half of our clients don't ride at all. But at the end of the day, we want you in the best places to watch the race, as close to the pro riders as you can possibly get, into areas that you can't get normally. So, when we go to the classics, Stewie gets us into the changing rooms, into the showers. I think we've got a photo somewhere of all of our staff getting changed in the showers, which is baffling. And then
that's the classic showers of Roubaix, of course. You're talking about.
That's correct. Right. Yes. Yeah. Not just some random showers. And then at the likes of the Tour and the Giro, so like we're riding on course half an hour before the lead car of the Pro Peloton, fully escorted by official cars, not a single other person, and hundreds of thousands of people on the side of the road. And then when we finish, we've pretty much got VIP hospitality 100 meters from the finish, 3 tiers up, full food, drink. We've got mobile showers along the way. We stay in amazing chateaus that I've got a team globally that go basically spend the whole year finding. It's more about the food and the culture. And then we have special guests pop in. So, we have lunch with Eddie Merckx. We catch up with Andy and Frank Schleck every time we're in France. Tom Boonen always comes and has a beer with us. It's really an experience that literally you can't get. And then our hosts as well. So we've got Stewie, Gossi, we've had Nick Gates along, we've had Frank Schleck along, and then even on the female side, Giada Bogata was an Italian national champion. So we don't just meet these people, we actually immerse ourselves in it, and that's really what it's about. We just create memories that you can't.
And it's one thing to get names, but they are names that are some of the best cycling storytellers. Because if you see a brochure and you go, I know he's a good rider, but he can't tell a story to save himself, you would struggle to shut these guys up. And I can imagine that people are just immersed, in sharing yarns from previous races and back in the day.
Oh, massively. Like, the way Andy talks about his, epic battles with Contador up through the Pyrenees is, basically you just sit there and smash a bottle of wine and just listen to him.
The other good thing I saw the way you do your tours is you break them up into 3 bits. Now, John often tells the same bloody story over the tour like 3 times, whereas this way it's fresh because you got different groups, Iffy.
Yeah. I've got plenty of stories, mate. I've got plenty of stories. I can do different ones every day.
And also what we do is we try and break it up for everyone. So, you can't go to 3 weeks. You can't go on a 3-week holiday. It's ridiculous. So, the Tour de France, we've got 12 different itineraries ranging from a day through to 10 days. Riders, not riders. We've got ones that are pro-hosted, ones that are more scenic. And we go visit 4-generation-old wineries and have the madam who's still alive actually walk us through their vines and show us and cook us a meal out of their own kitchen. It's these experiences that really just show you what cycling's all about, what Europe's all about, what traveling's all about, and you just do it with a whole bunch of people who love what you guys love.
So say people watching this and they go, right, I'm not even thinking about the Grand Tours. I've just got a passion for like Roubaix or whatever, because my greatest memory in the Grand Edge team was, of course, 2016 Paris-Roubaix. Yeah, and just when it's not until you see it live and you see the effect of the cobbles on the riders, you can get a perspective on TV. But when you see a bunch going across the cobbles, do you offer packages for the one-day races as well?
Yeah, no, 100%. So at the Classics, we basically cover off. At a riding perspective, we do the sportif the day before the race, and then we ride long course. And then because we're officially partnered with the race itself, we've got official cars, which means that we can take shortcuts and ride on course in front of the race, which is also a lot of fun. So yeah, we do Flanders, Amstel, and Roubaix for the Spring Classics. Strade Bianche is coming into the mix now. Milan San Remo is coming into the mix as well. I've always had a dream of Matty Goss and Simon Gerrans hosting a trip to Milan San Remo, which would be a lot of fun for us Aussies. So yeah, we cover all those either as an individual race, 3-4 days, or over a larger trip over a period of time.
Now I know there's some challenges this year already, but that you still have a few places for the classics. So just to let people know, they can jump onto the there we go, moomoo-cycling.com and have a look. But so are you doing Milan San Remo this year?
We can't, to be honest, coronavirus is throwing many spanners in our works. There's probably no worse industry to work in travel during this pandemic. So Milan San Remo is probably a bit tough just because of we just don't know what's happening over in Europe right now. So this year we've got Classics, Giro, Tour de France, Worlds, but then 23 we'll have a full calendar. And Classics, we've got I think 3 or 4 spots left. Giro's really picking up. Tour de France pretty much was sold out of the Alps. We've got over 100 people already booked, so it's going to be a big one this year at the Tour. But in the final week, which is what I'm really most excited about through the Pyrenees, you've got epic climbs, amazing food, amazing wine, and obviously the final week of the race. That's where the action happens.
So they'll go all the way to Paris, yeah? The tour group?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so, well, we've actually got different ones, but yes, pretty much.
If you could have the biggest long lunch on the Monday for the ones after the Paris, because that's your tradition. You go to the Duplex nightclub. Make sure you don't crack a rib on those pillars on the way to the nightclub. Because one classic year, John woke up on the Monday after the tour, had this sore rib and couldn't work out how he did it. And then the following year, we were walking the same route to the same nightclub and walked into this metal pillar and hit his rib. And he goes, "That's it. That's how I did it last year." It took 12 months.
Downhill on the way back. Downhill on the way back. And we do this traditional
rosé
lunch, which I'm sure you've joined us at some stage, Marcel.
I have a couple of times. Yeah.
And in this little Italian restaurant, a wonderful lunch. It's after an all-nighter on the Sunday, and then lunch, which goes to midnight. I've got to admit, the last year we were on the tour, 2 years ago, I was in a bit of trouble after that lunch. I started to realise I'm getting old. Not as good as I used to be.
Never.
Anyway.
Well, a special offer. Anyone that books the last week of the tour, you have an open invitation to the Detour long lunch on the Monday. It's not in the package. You can come down and have a rosé. And this is the lunch that's normally open only for journos. So you get all the inside stories. Yes.
Rip Guinness and I host it, and a few other journos join us. Stewie's always there. Whitey's normally there, and a couple of the team riders drop in and out as they're flying out, whatever. It's a great lunch, and it's a moving feast, and it's a lot of fun.
We've got a couple of comments. Annette Miller says, "Went to the Giro in 2019 with Moo. Best experience was a day in a Green Edge car in the race." Jan Borman says, "Seeing the tour in person on the ground is the way more than anyone can explain in words. Andy Schleck is lovely. John has many stories. I have loads of stories on my own, and I do go for the full 3 weeks now. I love it."
Wow.
So,
Jan is a lovely lady. She's actually related to Chris Boardman, if through marriage or whatever. But yeah, she is a legend, and she's had some challenges of her own of late, but she's got over them, and she's coming back for the tour.
Kim Dixon says, "Have had some awesome trips with Moo. Looking forward to the world champs." And Tom, he's a smartass. There's a challenge for the Detour Tours, capturing pics in the showers. We won't be. We won't be going
that hard, can it?
No. But that website again for anyone out there, go to Moomoo Cycling. So that's MUMMU cycling.com and get in quick, because now that they know they can get a long lunch with Iffy on the Monday, geez,
100%.
That last week at the tour.
It's the Giro too. Remember, in the Giro, it's not that far away. So start thinking about it. So tell us about the Moomoo Giro trip.
Yeah, sure. So our Giro trips, really exciting. We always kind of take in the Dolomites. Mainly the final week of the Giro is really where it heats up race-wise. So we start in Bergamo and then head our way from west to east across the Dolomites, and then coming all the way into Verona for the for the time trial, we see 5 stages live. We've got amazing hotels and wines. And the thing about the Giro is the Italians just do it differently. It's an amazing feeling over there. Like the Tour is just a circus. It's massive. It's huge. It never stops. The whole country's on holiday. But the Giro, I don't know. It's got this amazing, genuine feel. And yeah, who doesn't like Italian food?
Just so much more passion. Like the Giro, the Tour, it feels like that sort of bit more mechanical. Like it is huge, whereas cycling feels like authentic.
Well, the classics is a step up from that. So being in Belgium for Flanders is basically being at the Super Bowl or Grand Final day here in Melbourne. Sure. It is nuts, absolutely nuts.
I'm excited about the Giro. I love the Giro, and I'm doing the whole race this year, starting in Budapest, which I've never been there. So 3 days up in Hungary, which would be great, and the finish in Verona is fantastic. When I rode in 81, my last year in Europe, rode the Giro, we finished with an individual time trial into that beautiful arena in Verona, which is exactly what they're doing this year. So that'll bring back some fond memories. But Verona is such an amazing city, the city of love and city of Romeo and Juliet and all of that. So it's a wonderful place. And so that's a special tag for a lot of people to get to, a special reason for people to go to this year's Giro. So it'll be great. And the Dolomites are the most beautiful mountains in the world. There's no doubt about that. They're just stunning. Next level, exactly. Yeah. And bloody steep. So, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Well, and just on that about the steepness. So, a lot of our clients actually come to us and don't think they're fit enough to ride on our trips. That's one thing that we're really, really good at. At the end of the day, as I said, we care more about being at the race and being in a sanctum than we do about smashing out 150, 200 Ks. So, we've got some riders who come on e-bikes. We've got some riders that they might just want to ride the second half of the Mortarello. So we'll drive them halfway up, get out of the van, and they can ride the last half. So we kind of make it work for everyone, which is really, really cool, and help people achieve whatever goals they're out to achieve, which is a lot of fun.
I've got great memories of the Mortarello back when Brad McGee did that amazing ride and finished 8th, I think, overall. But it was on the Mortarello. He'd been struggling for a couple of days in the mountains, and I thought, this is the day I thought that he would crack. But he was sort of hanging in just off the back of the leaders, going about halfway up, but we were parked on the side of the road and yelling, and just the look of determination on his face. And he got through that stage, and I thought, this is something else. It was absolutely one of the great performances of an Aussie in a Grand Tour. For someone who was never thought to be a GC rider, proved that he could have been. So it was an amazing performance.
Yeah, 100%. Also this year we're going to Montegrappa. And funny story about Montegrappa, there's like 19 different ways up that mountain. It's ridiculous. And of course we took one of the hardest ones. So we're all at the top. There's this amazing war memorial with this incredible view at the top. And Stewie, while the group was kind of looking the other way, Stewie just gave me a bit of an elbow and he said, don't let any of the group follow me. And he just went, and Stewie did one of his greatest descents ever and got the KOM on the descent off Grappa.
They've always got that mad dog spirit. You take him out of the
That's
it.
No. And you start one of your days, you go over to Bassano del Grappa, a beautiful little town there. Well, that's where Dara McQuaid lives now. He bought a house
wow.
there.
Fantastic.
And the family of his lovely partner live there. So I'm sure they'll be there to welcome us.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we know Derek very well. And that's another thing, to be honest, I'm really excited about partnering with you guys is, now we get closer to Bike Exchange Jayco. So that's going to be fantastic. We did some work a few years ago with Green Edge Travel and just, really excited to kick off that relationship and get Aussie fans as close to their team as we can.
That's it, mate. That's what it's all about. Well, we're bloody excited to be partnering with you guys. And yeah, Rick Jagger, thanks, lads. He loves the show. And Jan Boardman says, I'm not a cyclist, so I cycle and push the bike up to the top and then roll slowly back down several mountains per year. It's great fun, and each one feels like such an achievement to conquer. There must be a lot of people that go on these tours. Obviously, no one knows everyone, but by the end of the trip, a lot of these guys that keep in touch because they've all connected with this unique experience for the first time, or some people have come back, year after year.
Oh, mate, we've still got, it actually sucks because I've got WhatsApp groups from pretty much every single tour group we've run for about 10 years. The people are still sharing stuff. And when the Tour de France is on, that's when they all start getting active and chatting with each other. And my phone just doesn't stop pinging the whole time. And that's what it's all about. It's, it's an opportunity to experience something with like-minded people. Everyone's there for the same reason, because they love cycling. The relationships we create is just awesome. A lot of fun, and particularly around the dinner table after a day. That's when
war stories. I can't believe you half-wheeled me, Jono. then there'd be those people that they get shitty with that have got the e-bikes, all these people are sweating, but it's what it is. I'd be on the e-bike and I'd be setting bloody Strava records everywhere. It'd be great.
Oh, mate, I want an e-bike, seriously. I think every year I sit down with Stewie and tell him what his schedule's like. The first thing he turns around to me and says is, really, you want me to ride that much?
Yeah, exactly.
I think much like a motor in his bike. So
why not? It was bloody great having you on the show, Marcel Berger.
Thanks,
guys. Not Berger.
Berger.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll no doubt check in again soon, mate. We'll have updates with how many spots are left, and we'll keep punters informed. But as we said, just jump on the website, moomoocycling.com. You get all the information there, and it's going to be a fantastic year because we'll definitely get some stories on the road. It'll be a chance for us to connect with the punters live as well. COVID's prohibited
definitely. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, guys.
Mate. Legend. Thanks, mate. No worries. Marcel, great guy and great company, Moo, so we're bloody excited. So anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
Just tell people how to click on and do all of those things you're supposed to do to follow the detour.
I've deleted I think it's just youtube.com/detour pod. I had it written in there. I've done a bit of a cleanup. I've got your email. If you want to send John an email, john@cyclingevents.com.au. You just want to have a chat with Iffy. Tell him about your day. Send him an email, and he'll get back to you.
And they're welcome to. And I'll give them a special introduction to Moo because Marcel's got this great package for the Giro for the last week. I'm doing the whole Giro, so if anyone wants to do a little bit leading into that, they could. There might be a couple of spots to join us for that, but mainly it's to put the two together. And the same Tour de France. We're going to have a ball. Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a cracking year. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back again soon with another episode. We're trying to lock down a couple of big names. Caleb Ewan, we should be able to get him in the next couple of weeks. And
a couple of days, I reckon. Caleb was ready to come on the weekend, but we just somehow stuffed it up. I'm not sure. It just didn't quite work.
Fault.
So
it wasn't my fault.
It's going so well for him. I was so impressed with his ride. Anyway, we'll talk to him next few days.
I want to get Daryl Impey on because he's just started a YouTube channel because Chris Froome wound him up about starting one. So I want to pick his brain about that and critique some of his videos and give him some tips, but also see how he's going because he's obviously coming back from a serious injury as well. And we'll try and get Esteban Chavez the next couple of weeks as well, see how things are going at EF. But if you do have any show ideas or people you want us to interview, maybe that's a way you can use the email address. John@cyclingevents.com.au. Just tell us. Tell us who you want us to interview and we'll hunt them down and we'll promise they'll be on the show next week and we won't get them. So that's how we roll. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you again soon. We'll probably be back next week, same time. Take it easy.
This is the winning ride of the Tour de France. Benjamin